Hey guys, welcome back to this channel. My name is Ishaan and I am a student going into year 12, and I've been receiving so many DMs asking me how do I revise effectively. So this video is basically for all of the students doing mock exams, GCSEs, A-levels or any other form of assessment you're doing, whether you're in the UK, USA, Spain or wherever you are, this video is for you. And I'm basically going to be teaching you how I personally revise effectively and what works for me. Before I tell you how to revise effectively, we need to look at something called the learning pyramid. And this pyramid shows how much we retain when revising. So at the top of the pyramid, it shows something called a lecture, and a lecture is basically something like a lesson, or when you go to school and learn, that's basically what a lecture is in terms of the pyramid. And it tells us that we only retain less than 10% of what we learn during the lesson or lecture, and this is very ineffective. The next one down is reading, which is only 10%. So let's say we're reading a CGP book or a textbook. We are only retaining 10% of the stuff in that CGP book into our mind. And again, that's not really effective either. Reading is considered extremely passive, and it's something you don't want to do because you're just reading over the information which you will forget after like 2 weeks. As we go further down the pyramid, we see that doing stuff and practicing stuff actually helps retain knowledge. This can be from doing anything like past papers, worksheets, questions, or testing yourself, which is a form of active recall. Now, the best method of revision according to the learning pyramid is teaching others, and this is how you retain over 90% of the knowledge that you revise from. And think about it, how come all of your teachers know that much about their subject? It's because they are teaching others. So you may be asking how I can teach others. It's not really, I don't have any students to teach. So it's actually quite easy. Pretend you're teaching a 5-year-old, then pretend you're teaching a 10-year-old, and then pretend you're teaching a 15-year-old. So let's say you're talking or teaching about diffusion. Now pretend you're teaching a 5-year-old about diffusion. So let's say diffusion is basically when you have perfume, and when you spray your perfume perfume particles in the air move where they are lots of perfume particles next to the perfume bottle to everywhere around you where there's little of them. And basically the perfume particles just move and fill up all of the space. So that's how we'll describe it to a 5-year-old. Now to a 10-year-old, you can say diffusion is the movement of the little particles from the perfume bottle and they spread out all across the room to fill the room, and it requires no energy. Now to explain it to a 15-year-old, you can maybe do it in terms of GCSE. For example, diffusion is the movement of particles from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration. And it's a passive process, meaning it requires no energy. So start from the basics and increase the complexity as you increase the student's age. And this will ensure that you know the basic topics inside out and you're able to basically grasp the concepts of the hard parts. Now, another really good revision method is called active recall. And there are two main ways I try to incorporate active recall when I'm revising. The first one I use is called blurting, and the second way I use active recall is by using Anki flashcards. So let's talk about blurting. So blurting is basically when you get a plain piece of paper and you write down everything you know about one topic onto that paper. This doesn't have to be neat, it can be rough, and when you saw me on TikTok lives, I was writing really fast. This was basically me blurting. So once you've written down everything that you can remember, you want to check your book and add any additional material that you couldn't remember. Now repeat this process until you remember everything that you learned, and then test yourself by doing lots of past papers. The second form is by using Anki flashcards. Now Anki is a great app you can download on your Mac, on your laptop, and it's basically a digital flashcard creator, and it implements active recall as well as spaced repetition. And it basically tells you when you need to revise a specific subject or set. And this really does help with long-term memory. Anki is a great app for active recall. It helped me memorize all of my content for biology and geography, which were very content-heavy subjects. A very important thing that you want to do around 2 weeks before your exams is doing past papers. Now, past papers, you can find them anywhere. They're literally scattered all over the internet. There are so many websites, I'll leave them in the description below, but you need to do past papers 2 weeks before your exams. There are only a certain amount of questions that your school can give you, and they're all probably found in past papers. For example, your year 10 mocks, I guarantee you they're using past papers to create them. So do tons of past papers because you will see similarities in your exams to the past papers. You need to know what the mark scheme wants because the mark schemes, especially for biology, can be so specific. And if you don't get what is on the mark scheme, you're just going to lose a mark. And this is the problem when you revise from a textbook. A textbook has so much information that is so useless, whereas the mark scheme is what you really want to use. Like for biology, a 6 marker, all you need to do is write down 6 words that are in the mark scheme and you will get the 6 marks. So whatever you do, make sure you're hitting the mark scheme, otherwise you will not get any marks. Why I moved from physical flashcards to digital flashcards. As you can see, there are my digital flashcards in the background, and I hated them. I really hated them. There are so many that I have in my cupboard and I just lost track of time. So before exams, I could not deal with 200, 300, 400 past papers on my desk. I had no idea where to start. I had no idea where to begin. They were all colourful and lovely, but it was just so impractical. It was just so stressful, I just didn't know where to begin. And this is why I switched to using Quizlet or Anki. Now, I didn't have to take 300 flashcards into school before the exam. I just got out my phone, got out my laptop and did my flashcards on my laptop because it stressed me out so much and I don't know how it just did. By all means, if you do like it, if you do like making notes on flashcards, then do it, but for me it was just way too stressful. If you're struggling with concentration and you haven't tried out the Pomodoro technique, definitely try the Pomodoro technique. Here is a simple version of the Pomodoro technique, but my method is basically just do 25 minutes of work, take a 5-minute break, 25 minutes of work, take a 5-minute break, 25 minutes of work, take a 5-minute break, 25 minutes of work, take a 30-minute break, and repeat this process continuously. This basically helped me retain focus as I wasn't revising for so long and I could have a few small breaks to check my phone. I would definitely recommend using the Pomodoro technique when revising. And if you feel like 25 minutes are too short, you can of course up the time. It can be very personalized. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching this video. It means a lot that you stayed until the end. We recently got monetized, so that's amazing. If you did like this content, it would mean a lot if you guys could go subscribe, but have a great day. See you soon in my next video.